It's time! Treasure hunting in the sharky waters of the World Wide Web. I'm your host, Captain Ola, and up in the corner, or not really corner, Pirate Queen Raae! And this is a pirate princess here. Yeah. Hot damn. Yoo-hoo.
So this morning, the pirate princess asked me, can I get that app where you make a cat with tentacles?
Yes.
Because she wanted to do she wanted to make an octocat. So she
made them.
Oh, she made a lot of octocats. She made like a pirate octocat and all kinds of things. So I'm just gonna put the screen. Can I get it further down? No. Whew! I was busy prepping a new design. That's why we were a little late. I just had to I got all the design done, and then I managed to port over the work we've been doing on the Tiny Stack repo over to the Mixpod repo, and I got it building on Railway.
Railway.
Happy about that. Yeah, because
Railway.
With Tiny Stack, where we're having our own SQLite database, we can't really just host it on Netlify anymore. So mixpod.app is still on Netlify. So this week, I'll change the DNS settings so that we go from Netlify to Railway. So today we'll be working and merging into a Tiny Stack branch that is deployed on Railway, and then main is deployed on Netlify. So we're in between two hosting providers at the moment. But do we want to talk about what we're doing today? Oh, I want to show the new design first. And I'll share. I'm so proud of this new design. I was like, it's so nice just getting back to just like out of the box, all custom CSS. So we got it running here on the Tiny or the Railway. And as you can see, I just 4 minutes ago, I managed to merge in the create playlist stuff that we did last week, 2 weeks ago, last time. But if we then head on over to a Mixpod on Railway, look at that.
Oh, yeah. Huh? I like the orange things.
I love the orange things. And look at this. It's like, oh, I forgot to add the padding back in. We'll fix that. But look at how smooth that is. And you see that the size of everything kind of just moves with the width.
Yes.
There's no breakpoints here. We're just using what's it called again? Fluid spacing and fluid typography. So it's just like, woo. And I even have like behind here, there's a little bit of the same background color. So if it comes on top of any of these other little boxes, it gets that background color behind it. And then these headlines have a little bit of a border. So the same thing if, any of these, land on top, like here, land on top of this blue, but say it was green, like it gets a little bit of a border. So I'm pretty proud. I'm so happy with this. And then Lillian decided that we needed these little orange, or the pirate princess, these little orange bits on the side, so they kind of just repeat like that.
Yeah.
So I am pretty happy with that. I'm just going to close down some things so I don't end up.
What are we going to do today?
Yes.
Adding an episode to the playlist from UI to DB. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, so we're going to continue on what we did last time. So last time we implemented creation of a playlist. So we did create, we kind of created this page, create your Mixpod, and then you get to the new page where you can put in the name and the description, and then on the playlist ID, you would get the playlist. So yes, that is true, Kim. I was thinking about just having
I need to read it. You can't just say that's true.
Oh, sorry.
It looks great. The repeating orange thingy might need some tweaking when the screen is tall. Maybe space between them relative to the screen height.
I was actually just thinking about getting a lot of those blobs and then have maybe like 6 or 7 of them repeating a little bit differently, like giving them different repeating settings so that it kind of feels like it's random when you go down the page. But that is a excellent point. So last time we did this, we could click the create your mix pod, you get to the Astro new page, and then when you hit save, it's saved to the database and you're redirected to the playlist page.
Sorry.
Well, we like to YOLO. I just did it another time. So a playlist. So let's see if that works, because I just published this to our Railway. So let's see if it works. So create your mix pod. So let's see a new mix pod. And I think I made everything required, but we'll fix that. Description. And then my name is Queen Raae. So if we save that, we're on the page /1, a new mix pod, and also in description Queen Raae. So yes, we landed over here. So what we need to do today is to add kind of the search functionality. And we did that in an exploratory stream before Christmas. So we're going to pull up that code and just kind of, instead of merging in that PR, we're just going to use that code and add it on top of this, on top of the work we're already done. And what we haven't then explored is you should be able to select the podcast episode, and then we need to save that to the playlist. So that means we need to get a new episode model happening, where we get a lot of the information about the episode. And what we didn't put in here last time when we were brainstorming is that we then need to have the playlist ID in here, so that we know what playlist this episode is on, and then also play some kind of playlist order. But I don't think we're going to add that now. We'll just like add them and don't think about the order. But at some point we need to add like a playlist order so people can move the episodes up and down and curate the experience they really want. And then I also at some point want some kind of note. So even if you use the same episode in different places, I want you to be able to add a note that is on this playlist, on this kind of episode playlist. Oh, sorry. We had playlist episode ID, playlist ID. So we did think about that last time. So instead of adding it on episode, in case the same episode is used in multiple playlists, we have an episode with an episode ID, and then we connect them with the playlist episode table. So yeah, there I said the note, and then also we will need some kind of order.
Righty. That was the how.
So that is the how, or I guess the what's in the how. Well, more the what. What are we going to do? And then now we're going to see if we can actually make it happen. So I don't know if we're going to get
why.
Yes. So the whole idea behind Mixpod is that you should be able to curate a new podcast feed with episodes from different podcasts. So say I want to make something on a topic that you are interested in, I can curate a mix pod and then kind of gift it to you, Ola, with something that I know that you're interested in. Or I could just make a topical podcast feed for myself. So instead of just having, it could even be something as easy as like listen later, if you find some things that you just want to save and listen to later, but maybe you want to have a feed for happy or travel or something, and you'll put episodes onto the kind of travel playlist or travel mix pod, and you can listen to that when you travel. And then maybe you'll have some kind of like more serious podcast that you want to listen to when you have more concentration. Yeah, you can create any mix pod you like. So, and you could also see here that the new mix pod got featured under featured mix pod. So featured mix pods now just show every mix pod. But we'll fix that later when we can have like featured.
Yeah. Okay.
So
let's go.
Let's go. Whew, breather. I just need to breathe a little bit.
Let's go.
And if anybody wonders, all of these illustrations I got from Icons 8 that I've had a subscription to for a long time. So I think this one was Inky. So if you go to the inky style, we have kind of all of these to work from.
Yep.
So if we go to Mixpod on the one that is deployed to the URL, I created even a nice like under construction page here with this little like, science glass like bubbling up. Anyhow, let's go.
Stefan says hello.
Hello. So the first thing I think we need to do is to check out the tiny stack. Check out the tiny stack.
Yes.
I can't see my keyboard. I need to learn how to write without seeing the tiny stack branch. So this is where we've started doing all of the work with, or where I've copied all the work we've done over the last 2 streams into the tiny stack branch, and that's the one we're deploying to Railway. So we want to branch off of that stack now that we're going to do the episode work. And then I need to pull because I just merged the playlist work into there. And then we need to check out a new one. Ooh, a new branch. That would then be tiny stack episode. Just to remember that I'm going to merge this back into tiny stack and not main. So I don't know, how do we first want to do this? Maybe we should get that search functionality that we already created. Because I'm pretty sure we have a pull request.
But did we search on episodes or did we search on the whatchamacallums?
I think we searched on all kinds of things. And then, we searched on episode. And then we want to have like a little bit of an add button, I think. So let's just try. This is very small for you guys.
Yes.
So let's start by doing what we did in this PR. So let's start by adding the podcast API.
Very good name.
Very good name. It's like, what is it? Oh, it's a podcast API.
Yes.
And then we had a search page. So maybe we should have that where, just to make it easier on ourselves, if you click some kind of like search episodes or add episodes, they'd make a new page. Just to make it more contained.
Yep.
So we'll need a new page down here that comes from this button. How do I get this arrow to go on top? Well, we'll fix that later. Maybe I can put this to the back. See, I can't. We made this funny clip where it's like, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. It's going to come to YouTube Short next week. So this will then be, the search page, and then we'll have a search field and all of that.
Yeah, YouTube Shorts. Ooh. I made a sketch note for today. I'll show it later.
Yeah, we're doing lots of YouTube Shorts. Anyway, so you want to search, and then we'll have a search box, which is kind of what that was, but let's just put it here. And then let's call this add episodes instead. Add episodes. And then you get here to the search interface, and you can search for episodes, and then the results will show up. So we'll have like some results. Oh, these are beautiful results. And then we need some sort of a add button then. So like add on each episode. We'll do add. So what we'll need to know when we go to search is what playlist are we going to be adding these to. So somehow we need to transfer the information about the playlist ID so that we can add it. So we're not doing any authorization or authentication at this point. Anyone that goes in can change any playlist. We'll fix that later. So we need to send the playlist ID in here so that we can add these episodes to the playlist ID. So let's try to make this. I think maybe this is all we're going to be able to make on this stream, and then next time we'll add the back end stuff. We'll see. Okay, so we have that search page. So maybe we should just when I was in this before, oh, it's because we're in the, let's go to the actual branch, source, pages, search. Look at that. GitHub has gotten this like really nice file browser. And we can even like download it. And then I can just copy paste it in. Downloads. We'll just type that search page in there. So if you want to see what we did, you can go back and see that episode. I think I already have the listen notes API key in there. Look at that. Look at that. Yep. And then we even managed to highlight. Okay, let's see. I don't think we'll need this. And we can put that on article. Okay, let's try.
Let's try it out. Yeah.
No, not yarn. We're not doing yarn. NPM. Run dev. Okay, let's see what happened. Request failed. That is the weirdest little.
Do you have that little key, the API key?
I'm pretty sure I already have that in my environment. I can double check that afterwards, but it should, yeah, it creates a client right away. But let's see. Let's see if we just remove everything, and let's see if it's pretty nice with Astra. If you remove everything, it's still going to be a page. Yes. So let's see where our trouble starts. Because we can do a result is empty, and then we can just remove all of this. Query. Okay, so we get the query. So let's do all of this. Okay, so this works if we remove all of this response code. So maybe it is the environment variable, Ola, as you said. No, that seems to be fine.
Yeah, good.
So, and status code 400, that means 400. I have that. I have a little, isn't 400 unauthorized? Look at that. I even have a little cheat sheet here. Can you see
Is
it?
that teapot? I'm a teapot.
I need to see if I can get, yeah, look at that.
Oh,
I got this from Content AI at some kind of conference. So 400 is bad requests. So it's not.
Oh no.
So
You've been
it's
bad.
not. Yeah. So it says bad requests. The request was not understood. Malformed request syntax. Check your request for missing required parameter or an invalid query parameter value. So something is wrong probably in this query here. I mean, we did do a lot of things. It might be because there is no query. So let me go back and copy this code again so we have it.
I added my sketch note now. Which, yeah, you don't need to look at it yet.
So what if we do query or just JavaScript? Well, that was a good suggestion. Yes, so it was because we didn't have a query param. So we need to have like a we need to have some sort of default state. So if there is no so we'll start with the const results, or let it should be then. So if we do a let results, that it's empty, and then we can do if there is a query param, then we'll do.
Why is it red?
Whatever.
Why is your results red?
Because you can't redeclare block scope variable. I've declared it up here, and then I'm trying to declare it again.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're just going to search in title and description with 10 requests. Okay, so it's now working even if it's empty. And then we can do JavaScript and we search and it's working.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes.
So let's add in our layout to get my beautiful design.
Yes, I like it when an API not only has a good name, but it's actually good.
I know.
That is
So
great.
we need a title for the search, and then we need to import the layout. Can you please help me with that? Quick fix. Why can't you not just like... Boo.
No?
Haha, look at that.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean,
Where are the
everything is
orange?
just so much more pretty.
Yes.
Oh, and now we get that issue that you were talking about, Kim. It's like boom, boom, boom. But we're gonna fix that later. Look at all of that. So first up, let's do a tiny bit of styling. So here we're using article. So let's do article.
Yep.
So let's do a font size, and then we can do variable. And I think there are called step. So we want step 1. I think that's what it already is. Let's go and look at our variables here. So we have step 2. So if we want minus, we maybe want step -1 to just make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And then we have these audio controls that can get a little bit of spacing. Audio. We'll do a margin. We'll do var, and then it's a space. And Copilot is all over the place with these because they don't know which ones I have. So let's do a small 0.
Pappa, den har rött batteri.
Maybe let's do space medium to get some space between. Look at that. Now it's like a little bit of space. This is good enough for me for now. So at this point, we need some kind of add button. And we'll fix some of this design later. So if I test now and do... So we need to get here from a playlist. But what would also be cool if is that if you could start with a search and then do like new playlist, like add to new playlist or add to like current playlist. But we're going to do it like the step-by-step approach for now. So
we only need add to this new playlist.
Yeah, but it's just like a fun way, like instead of having to be like, oh, I'm going to create a mix pod, it could start with a search and then you'd be like, oh, I want these 5 episodes. And then suddenly they are a playlist and then you can add the name and the description afterwards. Like that could also be a good...
You
good
mean
way.
it's automatically making itself into a
playlist?
Yeah, I like it.
That could be
I
cool.
like it.
Yeah. But let's not do that now. So we have a playlist and it's created by somebody. And then in here, in this section, we're going to do a menu because we're going to have an action button. And then we're going to do an href to search.
Yes.
So we're going to move into search. And then we needed the query param. So our query should be empty to start. And then we need a playlist ID. Oh, so it's giving us the playlist and not add songs, but add episodes. Episodes. So now if I go to my playlist.
Did it try to say add songs? The Copilot thingy?
Yeah, it tried to add. It tried. Oh, so we had it under like P playlist, but that's not correct. So let's try again. Yes, and then we do add episode. We're in this search and we should get the playlist ID. We're not getting the playlist ID. So let's go and look at that. Yeah, we need to have a template literal with the playlist ID. Do we have the playlist ID? Yes, we do have the playlist ID. We don't need to print out the whole playlist anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. We'll do the mix pod. We do add episode. Yes, playlist ID 1. So if I search for JavaScript, search. now I want to do an add button here.
Now I understand. Okay.
And then I want to land back on the same page so that I can do an ad. So I've been thinking we're going to try with Mixpod to just ship no client-side JavaScript. So we're going to
Yes.
need to be thinking a little bit old school, where every trip is a trip back to the server and then a refresh. So we'll end up having a lot of calls to the Listen API, to the podcast API. So we need to fix that by maybe creating our own cacheable endpoint. So if
Yeah.
you are asking for the same query again and again, Astro can serve up a cached result for us. So we'll need to fix that. But at this point, we're just going to let it search every time. So what I'm thinking we need now then is an add button. So for every article, we'll do a form.
Yes.
And inside the form, we need to do a type submit, and then we do add to playlist.
Yes.
And that will submit to the same page. But we'll need to submit the episode ID. So we'll need to have an input hidden episode and then results ID. I don't know if it was results ID. We need like a unique ID for the episode. So listen notes API. Run sample code. Let's see what we get out. Run. We get object result. Object. Yes. So the unique ID is an ID. So that's great. So we'll use the result ID as the episode ID and we submit that. What will happen is that we'll get a post request here where we get another query param that is episode ID. And then we also needed to have the podcast
one
ID.
S extra.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it. Was an example. So up here in the URL, we're going to get an episode ID. So if we head on back here, we go there, we go add episode, JavaScript, search. Something went wrong. My code is wrong. No. JavaScript.
Okay.
So we'll need a no result, a little bit of a no result. So now there should be an add to playlist. So maybe we'll do article. Oh, so great. We can also use, this is pretty great. We can use nested CSS now in just vanilla JavaScript. No, vanilla CSS. So if we do position, absolute, we'll need to do relative on the article. So position, relative. Let's see where it jumps. Oh, not save here, save here. Shouldn't you jump up there? No, because I haven't given it a. So top 0. And then right 0. Look at that. Yeah. Now it jumped up there. So now I should be able to press on this. And we got to search episode ID. But we need to continue having the podcast ID in there and also the search query. So I think we'll need to do another, like some other hidden here. So the search query should just be Q. And we call it query. Yeah. So the query should be query. And then we need to get that playlist ID. So we can do playlist ID.
All right.
Playlist ID. And then we can also then get episode ID on the post request. Episode ID. Okay. So then we'll do the query, and then we'll do another input hidden with the playlist ID. See now, Copilot is being very helpful. So let's go back. We'll do a new Mixpod and add episode, JavaScript, and
JavaScript.
You know what? I'm just gonna add I'm gonna add a default search here for us so that we don't have to do this every time. There's no quotes on that. So if we go back to Mixpod now and new Mixpod, add episode, we get JavaScript, add to playlist. So you can see we land on the same page, but it's done a post request in the background. So we'll need to then grab that episode ID and that playlist ID and save it to our database. And then probably we can then remove this add to playlist or like make it say added. So we can do that to begin with. So if there is a, if the episode ID is already here, sorry, we're not going to do that. We're going to grab that from the database. So in case you refresh and stuff, it's going to work. So we'll need to do the database stuff now, but let's commit this. Work in progress. VIP. We have search UI in place. Search episode UI. And then we'll need to do our schema. This is where it's going to get hard because now we're in my unknown territory, our TL draw. So at least we know we'll need an episode table so we can reuse this one. So let's call it episodes. So we're using drizzle, jizzy drizzle. And we had some trouble with that last time. What was the issue we had last time? I can show you how I fixed it. If somebody remembers what the problem was, we can look at how we fixed it. So we're going to get that from the table.
If you comment on some details, maybe it's easier for me to remember.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just remember we had some issues. Was it with a database query? I think it was when we were trying to get the playlists.
Kim says finding by ID.
Yes. Oh, we're going to do that now when we're going to combine these. So we're going to see how we did that. So yes, we need an ID and it's not going to be a number because we're going to get our ID from this ID and that looks to be a string. So it's going to be a string. That doesn't work. It can be number, Boolean, timestamp. Oh, it's because it's integer there. So text and maybe no mode. So can we have text as the primary ID? I hope so. Yes. And then again, we're not going to grab all of this. I'll do that after the stream, but we'll add some of the ones we really need. So we'll grab the ID and then maybe the title or something. And then a lot of this, we're just going to dump in a JSON column at some point. Is it just me or am I not? Am I the only one not seeing the title here?
I can't see in the title. Title
we have
highlighted, that. It said. That's a closest.
Yeah, so there should be a title. So it's called title and not, so we're on schema. Let's call it title. Title. And then we need the audio URL. Audio, and that's going to be a text audio. And that can be not null. It has to be there. And then that's what we're going to have for now. Or maybe a description. We'll do the description.
And by the way, is the pirate princess cooking in the kitchen now?
Yeah, there is sound coming from the kitchen. Okay, so now we have an ID, title, description, and audio. The thing here is I want to see if we can, in Drizzle, if we can say that this audio has to be a URL, because it has to be a URL. Otherwise, it has to be a URL to a to a it has to be URL to an audio file. So if we go drizzle ORM URL validation. Should we just head on straight to the docs maybe? Drizzle. Is it drizzle? Drizzle. Do you know what I saw yesterday on LinkedIn?
What?
Snoop Dogg is launching an alcoholic mixed beverage called gin and juice.
Yeah.
Sipping on gin and juice, laid back. No. I mean, that guy is such a businessman. Anyway,
Kim
back to
says,
documentation.
try Drizzle's AI search.
Ooh, ask I how to validate. If I can, AI, as long as it's like text input, is not great for us dyslexic. Okay, how to validate an URL, a URL. I don't know. Understanding question. Looking for relevant content. Oh, so it's So we need to create an insert schema.
Yeah.
Ooh, this looks nice and something I should do off stream, because at least we only need a text here in the table. So, and then we do the validation on insert. So I'll do that in another stream or off stream, because I can feel us going down a rabbit hole that will take us far away from where we need
Thank you,
to be.
AI. Saved us there.
Well, that was great though. It just like gave me the hunch that let's not do this on stream.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best hunch. That's the best hunch. And thank
Okay,
you, Tim, for tipping us about that AI guy. Or Al, as I like to call him.
Okay, so if this is a post request, how did we do that again? Astro method post. Hopefully that is correct. Let's see what Copilot gave us here, and let's reason about it, see if it's any good. So yes, if it's a post and there's a playlist ID and an episode ID, that is correct. We need a playlist ID and we need a episode ID to actually, connect it to. And then Astro method does not exist on read only. So I think this is when you have an API. So this one should be, let's have a look at this tiny stack one. It's Astro request method.
Oh.
Astro request method. Then we want to do, I don't know what client this is, client add to playlist. So that is pretty much what we want, but we haven't made that convenience method. So I think we'll need to create the episode, or we need to upsert the episode and then create something in the episode playlist table. I mean, you can see that it's a long time since I've worked with databases properly. This is very good for me. Okay. So we'll need to do what we did in playlist or in new. We need to create something. Oh, well, look at all this TypeScript error. That's what we got last time too. All of this TypeScript error, but why is it? Well, let's skip it. Let's not think about it. So we'll need to do an insert of an episode. So let's do playlist. So we'll do episode into episodes. So we'll need to grab that from our schemas. Episodes from our schemas, and then we do insert, or we want to do an upsert. Is that possible? And then title. So what we actually need to do now is like find the selected episode, because we only have the episode ID. So we'll need to find the actual episode. So let's just do description, and then there was audio. I just have some dummy data here to like make it be happy. I'm trying to get used to this working, with Copilot, but Copilot sometimes makes a mess of things, but it's still often faster for me to just clean up what they did, what it did.
Yeah.
Upserted episode. So what I at least need, I at least know, well, I at least need blah, 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 blah. Here, we should probably get all of the information on that episode ID from our listen API. So here on client, which is the listen API client. So now we have the DB, and then we have, let's rename this one to podcast API. So we actually know, instead of everything just being called client and stuff. So we need to get the episode information. And we could either maybe search through these responses because we know that it was on there when we were selecting it, but maybe we get back a different result and that episode is not in the list anymore. So we should actually find it on the podcast API. And I think, let's have a look at its API. If we just want to get one episode, what do we do? Docs. API reference. Podcast episode. So we do a get episode ID. So it's fetch. It's fetch episode by ID. And we have the episode ID. And we do not need the show transcript. So is show transcript default is 0. So let's just remove it. And then we have selected episode. So we'll do episode title, episode description, and then selected episode. So blah, 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 blah. And resolved ID audio. So it's just called audio, the same thing we called it. We are so smart, being consistent. Yeah. And then we have the selected episode and then the upserted episode. And let's put it in an object so we can see which one is which when we write it out to the console log. So now we need to figure out if we can do upsert with Drizzle. So let's try the AI again. To do upsert with
very good time to come with this comment then. Maybe it's relevant. SQLite has very few data types compared to other databases we know. So it probably cannot validate URLs or maybe upsert. It has insert.
I think how I read the information, Kim, is that that Drizzle, so SQLite will not have that data type. So it's going to be a text in the database, but it looked like Drizzle or ORM or Drizzle Kit, I don't know which part of Drizzle, has that built-in SOD validation. So you can like make rules. So when you're trying to insert, then I think that's what it tried to tell us here. Like there's a create insert schema. So that's not something that will then run on SQLite. I think it like runs in Drizzle before it writes to SQLite. So, if you push data in a different way, it's not going to be validated, but at least it's going to be validated, within our app.
Ha! Yeah. Kim agrees.
Yes,
indeed.
Yes,
that's all I was trying to say.
I mean, we are both very smart, Kim. Okay, so to perform an upsert operation with just ORM and SQLite, you can use the onConflict do update method to update the row if there is a conflict. Here is how you do it. So db insert users values ID onConflict. Okay, so if there is a conflict, so we're trying to insert, and then we are saying if there's a conflict, like it's already there. So we're trying to just do a regular insert, but then, oh, there was a problem. So if there was a problem, then we're going to target that ID and then set the data we got in. So let's try that. I'm just going to copy paste that so that it's so funny. I never click on these because I grew up on the internet when there was no nifty little copy to clipboard. Well, sometimes I use it, but very often I forget that these exist because it's just like muscle memory by now. So,
Yeah.
okay. So we'll do then await and then insert and then episodes, yes. And then we do values. And then, of course, we need to have the ID. We forgot that, which is selected episode. And why am I not allowed to do that? Well, let's try anyway. No overload matches. Didn't we call it ID? Yes. Maybe because I set it as a primary key. Yes, it's that it's auto incrementing. So let's just set it to not null. So that, and then it won't auto increment for us. Maybe we're allowed to set it then. Well, we'll see. ID selected as string. Yes, as string. So yeah, we were here. Values. Yes, we're setting all the values. And then on conflict, this is the one we need. On conflict, target epi. So where is that users coming
says
from?
Kim. Question mark though? Question mark.
Yeah, I think primary key is a self auto incrementing integer. So I just removed it. Well, let's see if that works. Users ID. Now I'm wondering where this users targets users ID. So episodes ID. So this is some magic. Episodes ID. And then we'll do, okay, so let's do this object as an object. Episode data. Let's call it that. And we'll do all of this in there. So we're creating a data object so we can hold it on data. So we'll set then the ID. It's not going to be on there, I think. That's like a little bit of the point. Because you see how when they do set, they don't use the ID. So we'll do ID selected episode ID as string. And then we'll do the episode data. And then if not, we'll do the episodes ID and then set episode data. Set all the same data. And we're still getting this TypeScript error. The expected time, which is declared here as string title ID. Okay, so it's already set as a, it seems.
It's already set as a number?
I fixed the playlist one, not the.
Oh.
Oh boy. Okay, let's go here to our schema.
TypeScript helped you?
TypeScript helped me.
But Kim here is trying to say, you're explicitly saying that the ID is an integer for episodes, unlike playlists.
Yes,
oh, no.
I changed the playlist instead of the episode when I was trying to change the playlist. So TypeScript helped me.
Look at that.
Beautiful. And now I don't think we have errors here either because I haven't messed up the. Okay, so we need to upsert episodes. Then they upsert the episode, and then we also need to create this Well, let's see if this works. And then we need to create a table that combines playlists and episodes. Well, we'll do that next stream, I think. This is going to be it for today.
Yes.
So first we need to do npm run generate, because we have changed the schema. We need to generate new things. So now we have comments, which is from Tiny.
A new thing in the database?
Yes. So the comments we already had from the Tiny Stack kind of proof of concept. And then playlists we already had, but then it's added episodes for us. And then it's created this migration file that tells you how we went from the old schemas to the new schemas. Okay.
Okay.
So it should have done it. No, it didn't do a post request, I would imagine. So let's go back and let's try and do all of this again. New Mixpod, add episodes, add to playlist. Nothing happened. Are we not getting post request? Oh, we need to say that the form is a post. I thought it did post as a, didn't forms do post as a default? Form HTTP request default.
You're missing an E on the request, but maybe it works.
When an HTML form is submitted without specifying, what's the default? Oh, it's get. Well, that explains a lot.
Oh no.
Method post. So let's do another round. So if we do add again, it now should have post. Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Yes. Cannot read properties of undefined fetched episode by ID. So that's when we are fetching. Oh, so it shouldn't be client because we already have the podcast API.
All right.
No, we submit it again. No columns, no values to set. So I am imagining that this is this one. So are we getting data back here from the selected? So let's uncomment all of this. And then we can do console log selected episode. Let's post it again. Let's see. Did I forget to wait? I forgot to wait. No wonder we are not getting what we needed. Look at that. Now we're actually getting something.
I will read Kim's and then you will say if it is relevant. I think you're still reading the parameters from query parameters, but they will now be in the body as form data since you're doing a post. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, yeah, but I have them here because I have created that. So let's do, if we just do it like this, well, there needs to be playlist ID. And now I want to add to playlist. Yes. So, no, but I actually did get the information, weirdly enough. Oh, well, that's because I had it in there. Okay, sorry. So I already, I was like, I manually had that data up there. But also I think selected episode, it's a selected episode data. So we need to grab the data from this. So let's do that. And then I'll do what you said, Kim. And I remember we did that in the new playlist, which is, so this is a good thing. We need to have these things to copy paste from because we don't remember how Astor does everything. So search. So now we're in this post request. Let's get the form data, just like Kim said. So form data. And then this is episode data as I have a really hard time spelling episode. So form data, we need to get the episode ID. episode ID. And then we need to get the playlist ID. I think we already have the playlist ID in the playlist ID form data. And then from that, I get playlist ID. Those are the only things we need.
Yeah.
Now my brain is a little fried, so it's not working as good. Playlist ID. So form, and we get the episode data. Let's see how that works. Okay, let's try again. Why am I not? A new mixpad, add episode, add the playlist. Yes, it's supposed to search. That's correct. But we are not getting the episode ID. Playlist ID.
All right.
Ja.
How are you doing?
Why am I not getting
Okay, maybe I should tell a story then.
any of this data? See if we at least get the query. Query. Let's console log that we're actually in this post request. Post request. Let's see. Debugging, a highly skilled debugging right now. Oh yeah, because we're checking for podcast ID and okay, now. Yes.
Yes.
Now we're talking. So
Yes.
now we have the information. We're getting the episode data back. We're trying, we're creating, we have our episode data. Maybe we can just set all of it on there.
Huh? Kim just said it just when you did it. That's right. We're getting closer.
Fetch data. So fetch data, and then we do fetch data title. Okay. And then we're trying to upsearch.
And upsert is changing it in the database.
Yes. Let's do fetch data ID so we're sure we're getting the correct. Okay. Yes. Changes. Last row. Woo! I think it's working. So what I want to do now is that I want the person to be able to continue work. Oh, they can continue because the playlist ID up here got actually got pulled through. So let's get the playlist ID from the URL and then the episode from the post. I think that's kind of cool. So we'll get the query and the playlist ID from post, and then we'll get the So we get the playlist ID from up here, and then we get the episode ID from the form data. And we then don't need to send these two because they got stuck there in the URL, because when you do a post request, it doesn't change the URL. So that's good. So all we need is the episode ID there. And then we need to check after we catch that, get that episode ID, if there is no episode ID or no playlist ID, we're just gonna return. We're not gonna, I don't think we're gonna do any, we'll just return back to the page. Maybe we'll just no. So return, and then we're gonna do it if there is an episode ID and a playlist ID. So if I try now again to remove the playlist ID up here, and then I do add to playlist, search, return, undefined. Okay, so I'm not allowed to return undefined. What can I return? Maybe I'll just do an if episode and playlist ID. We'll do it like this instead. So if I try, it's all good, but nothing has happened because it couldn't do anything. But that's fine for now. So let's do a little bit of a else here, to do error handling. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is update the connecting database. Do we want to do that now, or?
No. No.
We were so good. Okay.
That is what they say, what they used to say in the old days. Quit while you're ahead.
Yes. So we have managed to save it to the database. So what we need to do.
That's what we wanted.
Yes, but we also want to connect the playlist to the episodes, but I guess we'll do that next time.
Yes.
But I think that was pretty... Read that last one by Kim.
To do error handling. Sounds familiar.
It does! I am going to have a little bit of a look at Astro and how we can handle these errors more gracefully, because I do think we can respond. We could either just do nothing, but we could have a little alert saying that nothing happened. So if there is an error, maybe we can set like an error message, and then we can do like a little bit of an alert box, or we'll see how we can do that. Or just like give a little bit of a notice that nothing happened, at least so the person knows that nothing happened. But what I would rather have happen here is that, okay, if there is no playlist ID, but there is an episode ID, let's start a new playlist. Like that would be cool. At least I think that would be cool, because then you, as we said, you can head on over to the search page and start searching for podcast episodes. And then if you want to add, instead of it saying add to playlist, it says like start new playlist. And when you start a new playlist, then we add the playlist ID to there, and you've just already started your playlist. So I think I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then having, we'll have to figure out if we want to kind of have that search interface be a part of the playlist page or the search page, but we could also make the search page look like a new playlist and add, there's many ways we can do this. But I am having a lot of fun with just like server side stuff. Like,
Yes.
it's a much, it's a lot more explicit. And I think that is pretty good, especially if we're starting out. Like you move to a new page, what happens on that page? You move to another page, what happens on that page? Like we don't like update little bits inside of the HTML, even though that can give us some very nice UI. But as long as things are pretty fast, like it doesn't feel that weird to like just, click this add button and you get a little search indication. You get a little indication up there that something is happening. And I think you can click it many times, but we'll have to, in this case, it doesn't matter because it just upserts, right? So you just add and add and add, and like nothing really happens. And we could also add I think it's called like idempotent key or something, where it's like if we can make sure that you can only do one specific request one time. Oh, yes, Kim. Tell them. I mean, tweet at them.
No,
Because
no,
I
no.
do want to I do want to pitch them, but I think if we if other people are like, oh, you should sponsor these guys, then we have a lot better chance of getting a sponsorship with Sentry. Because Sentry would work really well with this kind of like tiny stack setup. So everything is kind of contained and self-hosted, but having something like Sentry outside of your system monitoring what's happening is a good way to kind of have yes, it's self-hosted, you control that. But what happens if something breaks there? If you then also have kind of like self-hosted your monitoring together with your self-hosted site, then it's, you know, if that goes down, the monitoring goes down, right? So it can be nice to have some monitoring outside of your self-hosted site. But do we want to go through what we did?
I want to say one thing first. I've started vlogging and I learned one thing. Yeah, you can see it there, the search. Because when you're filming in selfie mode like the kids do, you know, I'm learning from the kids. It's mirrored. And then you have to make the sketch note mirrored like this. You see, it says search. You cannot do like this, like normal, like writing the letters the normal way and the normal direction, because then it's unreadable. Yeah, thank you. That's all.
And if you're wondering what he is talking about, you know, head on over to YouTube, Queen Raae, that you already know and love, and head on over to Shorts, and you'll see that Ulla has started vlogging. And here's an example of the. I mean, the snake is still looks really good, but the text is not there. And then, I mean, you know, this is what got the most views. I'm imagining it is the sparkly jacket and this little camera, and also that I hashtagged it Insta360 because Lillian, I am jealous of my own daughter. Like I would have loved to have this at her age. It is a Insta360 action camera.
I'm here.
Yes. I guess it's good morning to you, John.
Yeah. Yeah, is it? Yeah. Is it in the middle of the night?
I don't know. And here's Kim. Kim is featured in our shorts.
Long time, John. Yeah.
Okay. So we managed to actually make this happen.
Yes. Oh.
So.
Right.
So let's do, I'm just going to do an update to our post request with episode ID. This episode. Did you just do why is this backwards? Is it because you're gonna
I just told you.
Yes, that's true.
And John says, you start at 5 a.m. my time.
Well, thank you for joining.
That means it's 6:18 now. That's early. It's early. Yeah.
Episode ID. So this is a post request with an episode ID, and that just reroutes back to the same page. So I don't know, this is not the best ULM diagram, but at least it's like add, it posts, and then it sends you back here. So what is missing is then to do on this page. I mean, there's to do error handling in all the pages, but functionality wise, we need to connect episode with playlist.
Yes.
Because I think that's the one we didn't do today. So let's make that in red.
All right.
To finish search plays. To finish search page. But since John just arrived, look over at the screen because you will be blown away by this new design. It's very, very pretty. Okay. Did we want to do a summary?
Yes.
So we start with the
What?
I'm so tired.
We start with the what? We start with the what?
We need to do this late afternoon.
No. Then I'm
Okay.
tired.
Okay, so we start with the what. Today we added the ability to search for and the beginning of adding episodes to playlists. So let's have a look at how it looks now. So you can create a mixpod. So mixpod bonanza with a description from the Queen. We'll save that and we get to this page. But where is my ad?
Oh no.
No, we're in production. We're not on local.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That was
let's
close.
start over so we can make a clip out of this.
That was
Okay,
close.
what did we do today? We have added the ability to search for podcast episodes and add them to your playlist. Not completely done with the add to playlist. We can add and save episodes, but we haven't connected them to the playlist yet. We'll do that next time. But let's have a look at what we have at the moment. So create a playlist bonanza with a description. With a description from the Queen. Save. And then we can do add episodes. And right now it starts with a search for JavaScript, but you can search for something else. And let's say we want to add this to the playlist. We'll do add. And if we have a look in our console log, it has been added. So it's been upsert episode. So one change. So if we try to add this one that we've added before, that would also work because it's gonna upsert again. So that's it. And the
Very
way
good.
we did that is by creating a search page. So when you're on your Mixpod's single page, like you go to your playlist with the playlist ID, then you press the add episodes. We send you to the search page with the playlist ID in the URL, so we know what playlist these episodes are going to be added to. And then when you press add, it sends a post request then with the episode ID, and you land back on the page that you were on.
It sends it to the database?
They send a post request to our server, and then on our server, we check if it is a post request. Yes, it is. We get the episode ID from the form data. And then if there's an episode ID and a playlist ID, we fetched information about this specific episode using the podcast listen API. And then we construct an episode data object with the data that we want to save to the database. And then we go to the database and we insert the episode. And if it already exists, which is on conflict update, like if it already exists, there's a conflict happening. And if that happens, then we want to target that ID and do an update instead. So this is a way to do upserts with SQLite and Drizzle ORM that the Drizzle AI and question AI gave us. Do I have that here? Yes. So we asked the Drizzle how to do an SQLite upsert. So it's quite important here in the Ask AI, I think, for Drizzle ORM that you let them know what database you're using. Because the different databases, I think, will have a little bit of a different syntax for some of these things like upsert and stuff like that. So put that in there, what database you're using. And it looks like we got some good results. And then what we need to do over here then is we need to upsert, I guess. Upsert a row in a new table. Let's just in a new join table. It said in a new join table that connects the episode to the playlist. Thank you, Copilot. So that's what we need to do to kind of finish off this feature. And I'll either do that off stream or we'll do it on stream. But it's pretty much the same that we did now. We need to create a schema for a new table that connects the two. And I think we've modeled it here in our TL draw. We need to have a playlist episode join table with the episode ID and the playlist ID. And then maybe later we'll add notes and an order. So you can order your episodes in a playlist and maybe add a note to an episode on a playlist. So that's about it.
And John says, you are building this project with Astro.
We are building this project with Astro, and we are challenging ourselves to make it with no client-side JavaScript. So if we go to mixpod.app now and click on the About, I've written that Mixpod is an exploration of what can be done with no client-side JavaScript and open web standards such as RSS. Do you want to read Kim's comment?
Oh yeah. Nice. We should probably create both of those rows in the same query, or at least in the same transaction, so we don't have one without the other if something fails.
Yes, I think we could. I think I'm pretty sure there are transactions with SQLite databases. In this case, though, it's not. I don't think it's that necessary, because if you create episodes, if you have episodes in the episode table that are not connected to a playlist, that is not too bad. And then if they just click add again because something went wrong, the episode will be upserted, and then the podcast episode will be updated. Well, I guess the other way around would be bad. Like if you have a podcast episode row and no episode, but if we create the episode first and then we try to create the podcast episode row, there's not really any big harm in that. But there are definitely cases or times where you really want to make sure that several database database, what do we call them? The changes are done or not done. Like if one of them fails, all of them should roll back. But I like to think what's the worst case that could happen? And in this case, it's not that bad. We can have some orphan episodes, but that's fine. Yes, rights, database rights. Yeah, this is a good one. I had fun. Felt like we got a lot done, and I am just so much happier working on this project now that it has a fun design. It just makes it so much more motivating to work on it. Are you and Lillian, are you and the Pirate Princess ready? I think he's vlogging. I think he is vlogging. He is vlogging. Oh, this is so meta. Super meta. Maybe I should also vlog. I also seen the coding. If you go to TikTok or even now YouTube Shorts, the new style is that when you're going to explain some code, instead of doing a screen recording, you just use your phone and then you point at the screen. And it actually gives a much better viewer experience, because when you're pointing at the screen, it's very easy to point to the code that you are talking about, and it just feels like more of a natural conversation instead of what I'm trying to do, where I'm doing this and then suddenly Copilot opens up things or stuff is happening. But if I just film my screen and then point at the screen, it actually gives a pretty good viewer experience. But it was kind of laughed at by a lot of developers. It was something none tech people would film their screen when they were talking about things on the screen. They would just film it with their phones. But it's actually started to happen also in the developer space. The guy behind TypeScript, the big TypeScript course, he started doing it, and people were like, "Ooh, fancy!" And I will just say that all the, women influencers have been doing that for years. The ones who are not in tech. So.
And John has a comment here. Difficult to avoid nav links window.location 8 ref client-side JavaScript query. I'll be curious if that comes up.
I am not 100% sure what the question is or what the issue would be. When we do have a lot of client-side JavaScript setting URLs, we often want to get the window location, but when we do things server-side, we don't really need the window location, and all we do is relative links. So if we go to our index, for new, we go, href/new, and then we get to the new page. And then we don't mess with our DOM at all in the browser. So, but you can also just email me that question, and we can cover it on the next stream.
Okay. Okay, er du klar, Lillian? Du skal ikke bruke den.
Jeg vet, jeg skulle bare fikse den.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. We did a mix pod treasure hunt with Pirate Queen Raae. And we're joined by Kim and John. See you in 2 weeks.